3 is saying about the biblical account of creation, and you were explaining about chapter 2. Can you make a little? Um, can you explain to us what is the connection between chapter 2 and chapter 3?
Let me look. Uh,
I'll say about the book.
yeah, if I may.
Chapter 3, biblical account of creation,
Right.
and chapter 2 of your book is saying about the science,
That's correct.
science conception, and biblical conception. Can you
Correct.
explain what
Yes.
is the connection?
Yes. In chapter 2, as the Reverend was saying, I have introduced basic concepts of science, which include basically Friedman's equation, for those who know, which is basically expansion of Einstein's theory. And then I gave a little bit, a very short explanation of quantum physics and then string theory. Those are bases for the science that we have today. That's basically chapter 2. Chapter 3, that the Reverend Marcus is pointing to, is the biblical account of Genesis. And in order to understand the science we have today and what the Bible is saying, one has to look at it from two different views. One can look at the universe scientifically from top down, and that was the views of Einstein. He looked at the universe as a deterministic universe, and that's why, in fact, his famous statement that God does not play dice with the universe. In other words, the laws of probabilities and quantum mechanics do not apply in Einstein universe. However, this is the top down, and he's right. He's absolutely right. However, if you look from the bottom up, where the quantum physics deals with the subatomic structures of matters, where everything is random, then Heisenberg's equations and his principles hold true also. Where therefore, if you look from the bottom up, nothing is certain. So quantum physics also is correct. The question, that was the problem that both Einstein and the quantum physics, the scientists of quantum physics have identified, and basically they were looking for a unified field theory that connect both those two. That theory have evolved over the years, and it is now known as the string theory. The string theory explains both the Einstein theories and quantum physics and everything in between. Professor Lisa Randall of Harvard University Physics Department and Professor Sandrum from Johns Hopkins Physics Department have developed a model recently that says if you give us 6 more dimensions on top of the 4 we have, which is X, Y, Z, and time, we will be able to explain everything basically from Einstein theory to quantum physics and everything in between. So the scientific way to look at it, one has to look at it from top down and from bottom up. That's the science. In the Bible is the same thing. You have to look at it from the bottom up and top down. Those two distinct views indeed matches exactly what science is telling us.
Can you show us what the verse in the Bible is saying? What you just said to us.
The top down in the Bible, the top down starts when God decides to bombard or inject light into the universe of darkness, which is the nothingness or absolute universe of absolute uniformity. When that happens, the Bible says that God says, "Let there be light." In Hebrew, it is Yehi Or. But the word Yehi Or, there's 2 words. One is Yehi, and the other one is Or. Or is light. Yehi is made up from 3 letters, Yud, He, and Yud. And that can be broken into 2 words, Yah, Yud, He, and Yud. Basically what it says in Hebrew, and that's why it's important to use the Hebrew text only. And that's why I use the Hebrew text and no other text, because the translation, once you translate into different language, the meaning is lost. In this case, it tells us Yah, Yud, and Or. It means God, 10, and light. It's basically telling us that God's light is or has created the 10 dimensions. It shows point blank that the science today that we have and the first verse of Genesis is the same. It's one and the same. It describing nothingness, it describing absolute uniformity, and it describes the expansion of the universe into 10 dimensions by the injection of God light. Now, one must make a note here that the notion of this nothingness, or the universe of nothingness, is a physical entity. Therefore, what was injected into it is not physical, but rather spiritual, what we call spiritual. That is that's the light of God.